Have you ever had a dream that you had you could want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Let's get high.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Stop!
Bring me more.
I hate to dream, because dreaming takes energy. It takes work. Sleeping is supposed to be a relaxing affair. I lay down on a bed, it feels great. Next thing you know, I have to build a go-kart with my ex-landlord.
To record you, and we're going to...
Girl, what are you doing?
Watching TV.
I can see that. Why don't you read a book? You watch too much damn TV.
Research.
Oh, right. You're gonna be a TV star.
Very, very soon. I don't believe in fairy tales. Ninja warriors have come. Find your balance, Rick.
Too wimpy to show yourself, Kruger? Well, how's this for balance?
Rest milk, you made my day. Have a nice stroll, asshole.
It must have been all a dream. Or was it?
Boy girl groups make me sick.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Eminem one, right?
Yeah. And I remember it was like Jordan Knight was talking about it because he was like, my daughter loves Eminem. And he was like, when that song came out, she was like, Dad, he says your band sucked dick. And and he was like, we weren't great, honey. Like,
I like
he defended Eminem. And I'm like,
great.
all right, props.
That's great. We weren't great. I mean,
Yeah. That's awesome.
we were called LFO.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kids on the
man.
Block were so big.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
They did a ton of mall shows. I remember that from the fucking 80s or 90s or whatever the fuck they were.
I remember
Yeah, they got
being
big.
yeah, I remember being in preschool and somebody got one of their VHSs of all their videos and like live concerts and
Nice.
stuff. And I had to have been like 4? So it was like 89. And I
Damn,
remember
that was your first live video? That's crazy.
It might have been.
It went from New Kids on the Block to Live Shit Binge and Purge.
Yeah, for Metallica. But yeah, I remember being in preschool and all of the kids like would always put it on, like everybody would go crazy. And even at 4, I was like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
They
People
had
are
some
going
bops,
crazy.
but I wouldn't say that I was like a fan.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I found them relatable because I moved around a lot. So I was the new kid on the block for
Okay.
years.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
only
good.
reason, though.
That's the only reason, yeah.
Really resonated with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
What a-
relate to these guys. They know what I'm going through.
Never listened to any of their music, but I can really relate.
Yeah. They're the new kids on the block. I'm the new kid on the block.
I too am a new
what's-
kid on the block.
What's there to think about?
What a coincidence.
What's Owen Wilson's line in Zoolander?
Wow.
He's talking to
Yes, that is one of them.
Wow. In the computer.
I think he's talking about Sting. He's like, I'm a big fan of Sting. Like, never listened to his music, but I just really respect that he just really respect that he does it.
So good. Yeah, just that he does it. Like,
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
80s.
80s.
Sick.
What a
80s.
I felt like so to jump right in, I felt like Nightmare 4 really kicked up the 80s and this whole franchise. And it's like you're in the 80s when there's random karate.
Oh yeah.
That movie had so much karate.
Yeah. It was solid, like untrained white guy karate too.
Yeah. It was a lot of karate.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
guy
guy
was the 80s.
really likes karate.
The 80s, you had like, I don't know, 4 white dudes who knew how to do karate.
Yeah.
It was just starting out.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but like that guy
But
loves
this
karate.
movie is what inspired the whole movement.
This movie's what inspired Jean-Claude Van Damme to do splits. Somehow.
When did the first Karate Kid come out?
84.
84. Shit. Okay.
So Nightmare 4 what came out in 89, and at this point, Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3 had already come out.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I'll take that back because the 80s is really where karate boomed. So I'm very wrong at that because it's Bruce Lee that really, Bruce Lee in the 70s sparked that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Because
I'll take
70s and 80s was karate, and then at some point it switched into like taekwondo kinda, and a lot of kids were like, "Oh, karate's not real." Because I was one of those kids.
Nice.
And I took taekwondo. I managed to get to 2nd degree yellow belt. Pretty good.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, super good. I think I could take on Steven Seagal. But that has nothing to do with karate. That just has to do with me.
I mean, that's just because he's an asshole.
I think I could just whoop his ass.
And 10-year-old James.
Yeah, and 10-year-old James could definitely whoop Steven.
Definitely.
2nd degree yellow belt against Steven Seagal? Good to go. He doesn't even know. He just knows that shit that Putin does, where he's like,
Right.
and then they fly across the room like
he's got a lot of chi for sure.
Yeah,
He uses a
so
lot of
much
his
chi. Some would say he's got too much chi, but we're really getting off track here with Steven Seagal. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go back to karate. I'm not going to say kid because that's a movie. Karate Guy. Before we move anywhere else, I just want to get this out of the way. One of the worst kills in the franchise.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Where he fucking first off, why does he just pop into
Ghost
like,
glove?
huh?
Which
ghost
glove? The ghost
just
glove.
like the hovering glove.
Yeah. See, I don't even consider that part of it because it's so like such a small part of it. Like it's just he shows up in like whatever they think a karate fantasy would be. Which why is the dojo like have a fog machine? That's a little weird. But
dojo.
And then he just has an invisible
in my dojo.
Yeah, right. But this kid's legit. He actually likes karate, Derek. But he has an entire invisible fight with Freddy.
Yeah.
That's it. And then he gets stabbed in the stomach by a flying glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else in this movie is some like fucking insane screaming mad George thing. And then it's like,
that's true.
Yeah, I guess he's invisible. We don't even have to have Freddy come in for this one.
Again, I watched every minute.
Watched every minute,
dude. Was he the one where he was in the elevator? Was that him going down where like everything turned into an like a hellacious elevator and like shot down?
Yeah, because that was like right after he was in the stall, right? Like having a nightmare where a bunch of cheerleaders are like cheering him on while he takes a shit.
Yeah, that was also really weird. Like, why did all these cheerleaders show up? What?
And then it turns into the elevator that plummets down.
Takes him to his dojo. But
sometimes I wonder what Freddy thinks a nightmare is.
Whenever he makes it, I guess.
That's a good point.
Like, I mean, I guess it is kind of a nightmare to have a bunch of cheerleaders crowd into your stall while you're shitting.
I've had that nightmare many times.
That's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be a little weirded out.
Yeah.
This isn't normal.
Just a little weirded out.
Just a little.
Hey, what are you ladies doing here?
Yeah.
I like
doing it.
What is the purpose of this? What are you doing?
Can I guy take a shit?
Yeah,
Jesus.
hey, come on now.
Yeah.
Whoa, hey.
What's funny is I had noted how every death in this movie is so fucking cool, and I forgot to write that one down. So I guess you're right.
Yeah.
That one was not as
It's
It was
just
noticeably
yeah.
I think it had the best like Freddy death that we've seen so far.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
One
Like
I honestly, I don't remember that. I couldn't. I had no recollection of that happening somehow, which you would think that would be like a really like
same here,
foundational moment for me. But like watching it this time, I was like, "Holy shit! Is this the best Freddy death?"
Yeah,
I think it might be the best Freddy death.
Just all the arms coming out of him,
Yeah.
especially the one coming out of the back of his head.
Yeah.
And the way his head starts moving.
Yeah,
so
it's
disturbing.
So fun.
So
it's
gnarly.
Only like,
it's
like they
very
always
unnerving.
kind of play with body horror with Freddy, but this was the first one where like you could tell Screaming with Mad George was just like, I got this. I know exactly what this should be.
Was he the one behind the Freddy death? I know he did the cockroach death.
I think he did all of the effects for the movie.
Yeah.
Well, the credits had different deaths sectioned off with different like effects
really?
houses.
Really?
Wow.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't realize that.
I think he may have been, because whenever the opening credits popped up, he was the one in charge of everything.
I know Screaming Mad was on like a few of the different deaths. I just didn't keep track of which ones, but I know the cockroach one was one that I noted because I was like, of course it was Screaming Mad George.
Yeah, of course that
fucking
one. But I
bonkers
would
with
say
that one.
I'd say the Freddy death has to be him just because look, it's Society.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's just one dude.
Yeah.
One society.
I'll just have one society, please.
One of the what death was it? One of the other deaths was supervised by John Buechler, who worked with Rennie Harlan, the director, on their previous movie, Prison. Okay. And that's where John Buechler met Kane Hodder, and John Buechler would go on to direct Friday the 13th, Part 7, and that's how he picked Kane Hodder to be in Part 7.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Jesus. It's only like it's almost like there was only like a couple of these big blockbuster horror movies going on at the time.
Yeah, they're all kind of linked. What's funny is the Rialto Theater, when they go to the movie theater in Part 4, the poster for Prison is up next to Hairspray as the two movies that are playing at the Rialto.
No
is
shit.
Rennie Harlan's most recent horror movie and
fucking Hairspray.
And if you've seen Prison, then you know that was essentially like Rennie Harlan auditioning to do a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Like a lot of the same effects and moves and shit. It was really cool.
Yeah, until you started talking about him, I really hadn't heard of him, and then I was like, wow, he's done so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like he did Die Hard 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's big.
He kind of has
big.
Yeah, Cliffhanger's big. Cliffhanger's big.
Long Kiss Goodnight is great.
Oh, Long Kiss Goodnight is dope. So good.
But he did Prison and then got Nightmare 4, and then just recently he did the new Strangers movie.
Yeah.
All three of them. So yeah, he's a weird
So he's
guy.
only doing this one and the two after it. He didn't do the second one or the first one for Strangers.
No, yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he did the reboot and the chapters. Well, it's not a reboot. They insist it's not a reboot. It's a reboot. But
it's a
chapters 1, 2,
pre-boot.
and 3.
Thank you.
I love how
pre-boot. I like that. That's a good one.
Side note: I love Josh how you went got invited to the premiere and then gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd. I'm proud of you.
So that's what's funny is people talk so much shit whenever I like a movie, and I've got journalist friends. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a fan. Yeah. So I'll be like, this movie's great. And they're like, how much do they pay you to say this? And I'm like, fucking $0. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I did the Immaculate review and they're like, oh, it's a paid ad. And I'm like, yeah, because I reviewed it. And they're like, we like your review. Can we promote it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we saw the Strangers and I was like, I can't in good faith be like, I got to go to the premiere and meet people. So 4 stars. Like, I still thought it was a subpar film.
Yeah.
But it got me excited for chapters 2 and 3.
See, and I really think this isn't really a conversation for the podcast, but I guess I'll have it anyways.
No,
I feel like that's important because there's a lot of people, a lot of influencers, especially out there right now, that just like fucking everything, and it's like, nah, man, like be honest. Like, if you don't like it, just say it sucks, because that's important. We need people saying that movies suck.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
well, I think
you only get movies that suck.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem with then, like, during the strikes, they would invite a lot of influencers out to this stuff because writers and other people who supported the WGA and the SAG wouldn't go to these events, but some influencers just didn't give a fuck, and they would support this. And then they've realized that if they give influencers free shit, that'll sway their opinion. And I'm like, I feel almost guilty of that, but I think they took me to, like, I got invited to that Night Swim event, and then I saw Night Swim, and I was like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't recommend this movie to people. And they sent me.
Could you just send an email to the people and be like, you guys need to tell somebody this movie sucks? I can't do this.
I try to spin it. I still haven't done my Strangers review yet. I'm going to do that because they're sending me a package for it that I'm excited about. I still love the franchise, and there were some things about the new movie that I really enjoyed. And I am still very excited to see what Rennie Harlin does with chapters 2 and 3. But this one, I was just like, man, this is a reboot of a really fucking good movie, and you took a few things
really
that
hard.
made it so good out.
You have to take it and, like, do something with it that's your own, because you're doing technically a new series off of it. But, like, there's nothing to that movie, so there's nothing to, like, remix, really. It's just like,
well, I think that's what they're trying to do with the full trilogy. So this is just like setting that up, and I'm like, okay, I am excited to see what they do in the next ones, but you could have given us a little bit more here. Like, I don't want to have to wait for the next ones to like this now. But I digress. But he still knocked it out of the park with Nightmare 4.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and honestly, insane that this is his, like, second, third thing that he's directed.
Yeah, it really is.
Especially with how many fucking moving parts there are to it. Like, this is a complicated ass movie. It starts with, like, the entire we're just gonna gloss over the fact that it's not Patricia Arquette, because, like, it's the same character. It's such a bummer.
I wonder why she didn't come back.
She was pregnant.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's all it was. She was pregnant
every time.
I didn't know that, because I know the in the third one, that was her first movie. That was her first time on a set.
Yeah.
And, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Chuck Russell was just not happy with her performance, at least the first day, from what I was reading, that she was fumbling all her lines. They were doing a bunch of takes, and Chuck Russell was like, she's not going to work out. Like, we're going to have to get her a replacement. Shit. And they stuck it out with her, and then it just, she got better as it went. But she was freaking out too. She's like, I don't know if, like, I could do this. She's trying to,
which is insane, because her performance is, like, what drives that movie.
Yeah.
Which is why it's such a bummer when she doesn't. It's the same character doing the same stuff in the next one, but it's not her, and you're like, this is throwing me off. I really tried to watch it, like, putting that aside and being like, all right, it's the same character. You can kind of roll with it, but it doesn't hurt that, like, the beginning of the movie she gets killed off, essentially.
Right.
Well, like, halfway into it, but, like,
I would say it's late in the fourth one enough that it was like a bait and switch almost, where you thought she might pull it off as the final girl, and they're like, nah, we're bringing this girl Allison, we're gonna
slays on nunchucks. Dude, fantastic. That montage scene was so good.
Good montage.
Was a fantastic montage.
Oh yeah,
great flips, solid karate. One of my at that point, my next note was, seriously, this movie has so much fucking karate in it. I just wasn't expecting it to, like, they introduced the karate, and then they laid the groundwork for the karate,
right?
And then they built a skyscraper of karate.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
we also got quicksand.
I was going to bring up that. My first note was, I did not think that I would run into quicksand porn in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Weird, because mine says I did not think I would run into Derek's fetish in a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Josh is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Let's unpack that for a second.
There's an episode where we go into Derek's fresh obsession with quicksand porn.
Fresh obsession.
Me, like, just having found out about it. I think it was a podcast. Yeah.
It was during our mindfuck episodes.
Wait, just finding out about quicksand?
No, quicksand porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, there's
that word's very
quicksand
important.
porn.
Yeah. You need to go. Yeah, I looked it up in real time.
As during that episode, yeah.
I don't even remember how there's quicksand porn and incest has become a running through line joke throughout this podcast. And I didn't
sign up for this.
I didn't. It makes me feel uneasy, but I'm going to ride that wave.
Just towing the line of what gets us banned on Spotify.
Rogan's still going. We'll be fine.
There you go.
I say this a lot, but this is a good time, I think, to use it. Is that should be a T-shirt? Incest and quicksand porn would be a great T-shirt. You know those T-shirts where they have
the top
4
of it's
going to
say Derek Fortin presents.
Yeah, there it is.
Man, but that was I opened my notes app on my phone so fast as soon as she fell into the quicksand bit in the beach. I was like, oh, this gotta make a note of this. Derek's gonna love this shit.
We should watch what is it? Death
quicksand
Beach?
porn?
Yeah.
No.
Blood Beach. I think it's Blood Beach.
Yeah.
Where it's just a movie entirely about. I think I watched it on Doc Mock's Movie Mausoleum a long time ago because the whole movie is just people running on sand and then and then it's a blood on the sand.
There's one on Tubi or something that's just called The Sand that I want to say it's called that somebody had recommended to me. They're like, it's fucking ridiculous, but I was entertained. And I'm like, yeah, it sounds atrocious, but I'll give it a shot.
Blood Beach, The Sand. We need a third one to get a triple feature going here.
There we go. You're the expert,
Justin, pull up Pornhub real quick.
I'll make a compilation, guys. Don't worry.
This
Strangely, best performance came from this one on Pornhub.
Yeah.
Can you do a letterbox for Pornhub?
Yeah.
Right. Dude, we should make that.
Good question. Yeah.
I bet people would.
I don't know if I would. Yeah,
that's real fucking awkward.
Porn would be real fucking weird. I'm sure there's people out there. There's people.
Hold on. I gotta wait. Hold on. Let me collect my thoughts. Let me collect my fucking thoughts. Moment of clarity.
Right?
My life is a lie. I'd say it was a 5, honestly.
Yeah. But what's so weird about that scene in Nightmare 4 is from Freddy's perspective, I was like, wow, I don't think that they had quicksand porn back in the day, but if they how it evolved, this is what it is. It's just somebody watching a woman struggle in quicksand.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow, they predicted this shit really well.
Yep. Maybe somebody saw Nightmare on Elm Street 4 when they were a kid, right when they were that spark was going off, and they were just like, I want to fuck quicksand.
Well, they don't fuck quicksand.
but I mean that's impossible. So I guess we'll just have a lady getting dragged down.
Yeah, I thought it would be way more exciting than what it was.
Yeah, it was really honestly I was expecting it to be absurd, and it's just a lady yelling in sand.
Yeah, it's very serial killer-ish. It's not. It's
very girl bouncing on balloon.
Yes.
I think we're doing right now what we did in that other episode where this is going too long.
We can't help it.
Yeah. It can't be helped. It's so awkward and weird that you can't. Whenever you start to think about it, you can't
not talk about it.
You can't help but try and analyze it because it's so how does that exist?
Yeah, and certain fetishes just fascinate me. How did that come to be your thing?
Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
It's gotta be. Somebody, the law that what is the law of averages or something like that. Somebody out there saw Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and was like, that's my fucking thing.
Yeah,
I will say what year? This is 88,
89.
Yeah, the fourth one was 89.
Yeah,
it was 88.
Yeah,
there was way more quicksand that happened throughout the 80s.
Oh
earlier.
yeah.
So
there was tons and tons of 80s was quicksand heaven.
Yeah. Because I remember being a kid in the 90s.
Is also the name of a quicksand porn.
Definitely. I remember being a kid in the 90s thinking quicksand was a far more common threat than it actually is, and that it was way more dangerous.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm fucked. I live in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sand.
The fucking sand all over the place.
Yeah, that and bear traps.
Quicksand and bear traps.
Yeah, quicksand bear traps.
Oh man, that's the worst. You fucking get sucked down into quicksand, and then there's you just come out like a fucking jackass skit, except it's all bear traps.
Brutal.
Oh man. Speaking of bears,
did we just completely skip Nightmare on Elm Street 3?
I was going to say we just started talking about 4 immediately because Justin wanted to talk about karate.
Yeah, man, I can't.
We can stick with 4.
There was so much karate, and I couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I can't get over, and what's the director's name again? Rennie
Harlin.
I would love to have the conversation with him. Hopefully, he wouldn't take this question as an insult. Maybe he would, but I genuinely want to know who the fuck came up with, okay, guys, the dog is going to piss on the ground and that's going to bring back Freddy. And then did anybody else around them within their group go, well, how does that work? And if they did they just go, shut up?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because like I watched that scene like multiple times trying to search and find like, okay, did I miss something? Did anything else go on?
I don't think that the dog pissing on him brought it back. I thought that was just for flavor.
It was a random event.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't random. He definitely made the dog and made the dog piss fire. But
right.
I don't think that's what brought him back. I thought that was just Freddy like adding some flavor.
Yeah. I think he was already coming back.
Like the dog that pisses fire.
The dog was like digging at him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then the dog was like, I've done my job.
Yeah,
peace. And like just fucking dipped. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like usually there's a reason. Like it goes into like with all these franchises and stuff, they always come up with a fun, creative way of how the killer comes back.
Well, I thought it was because he was taking their souls.
Money.
Because I thought he killed.
He died.
In
3. So he died in 3. So how was he?
All of them.
Well, hold on. That's assuming that he was killed in 3. I don't think he was killed in 3. I think that he was just paused in 3.
Yeah.
Like
so
whatever that
ritual
ritual
buried
is.
Me, I wasn't dead.
Yeah, it's more like a vampire thing where like he's in the ground and he can't come out.
I think it's like Leprechaun. There's just a different Freddy in every movie.
We talked about that. His powers are completely different in part 2.
It's true.
And in here.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed is so the first death in the first movie, Tina, is gory as fuck. She gets torn apart.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Depp gets pulled into his bedroom and they walk in and there's blood everywhere. Gory as fuck. He's destroyed. And then in 3 and 4, they're not wounded in the real world.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
When the guy gets torn apart as like the puppet strings, you just see him walking like that.
Yeah.
And in this one, which death was it? Yeah, when Kincaid gets
first kill.
Stabbed in the chest, you just see him like have a heart attack in his bed. And
the
asthma attack girl doesn't get drained in real life. She just has an asthma attack.
Well, and that could be put down.
God,
to
that was fucked up.
Maybe his powers aren't. Maybe his powers aren't strong enough yet.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I mean, that's the thing is I'm always like, because it's clearly one dude, so I'm always like trying to connect the dots as to like what the lore is as to how he works. Because like, it's always been about him getting souls, and the souls are what gives him power.
Yeah.
At least that's normally what the story is. So it makes sense if I don't think into it too far.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I think it makes sense because I think it makes sense because then the parents would clearly believe that something was happening if they woke up and their kid was like diced to fucking bits in their bedroom.
Right.
And they saw these slices happen in real life. They're like, oh, if we do that, then it's going to be really hard for the parents to just not believe this and go away.
Yeah. So maybe it's not his powers are changing from movie to movie. It's his motives are changing and his creativity of how he's killing people is changing. Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Like in the third one, I'm just going to make it look like a bunch of suicides.
Yeah.
I
also think it's scarier that way. Like yeah, I love seeing gore and shit, and I love seeing Tina fucking get shredded and the blood and all that in the bed and stuff. But like, yeah, how do you explain that? Like, how do you even begin to explain all that fucking blood? That's impossible. That's insane.
The bed just
yeah. But like, how much scarier is it? You have to deal with this. You know that you're gonna die in this fucking dream, but no one believes you because there's literally no proof.
Yeah, there's no evidence.
That's fucked. That's so much more.
Yeah,
fucked.
that's fucked up.
Is fucked.
It is pretty fucked that a 130-pound Johnny Depp has the blood of like an orca.
Yeah.
It's nutty.
It's a lot of fucking blood.
I kind of think it's just poor writing and lack of attention paid towards making things in the late 80s because they were cranking shit out.
You're saying just how it changes from movie to movie.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
Oh, that's 100% what it is. However,
However, we need another nightmare movie. Jason came out 2 months ago. Fuck that guy.
I will say though, the differences in the Freddy movies are way more subtle than the differences in the Jason.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I can't at this moment with this watch through. I officially don't know which one of these is going to end up being my favorite because it's not going to be two. But one, it probably won't be one either, just because like I'm so burnt out on it.
You're just
but like
it's too hipster to pick.
No,
one.
I've just seen it 1,000 fucking times, and like I'm like, yeah, all right, I get it. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah,
The first one's the
I
only
always
good
go
one.
for the I always go for the hipster pick, dude. So
that's Derek. Derek hipster pick Fortin.
Casey Becker in Wes Craven's Scream said that the first one was good and the rest all sucked.
And that's ridiculous.
I think that's why Ghostface, gut her and hung her in a tree.
As you do.
Yeah.
How old are you supposed to react?
Like, did you see Dream Warriors, girl?
Wait, are we gonna have to gut and hang Derek in a tree now?
Maybe I'll be up there too because
he didn't say the rest all sucked. He just said
you didn't like these.
Oh no, it's not that I didn't like them. I like them, but there's like one of the things I did note on. So like in Nightmare 3, I feel like that was where they really were like, okay, this is what Freddy is now, and going forward, we're gonna build on top.
Yeah,
of
I think
this.
I think 3 is the it's the I don't know how to phrase it. It's the completion of figuring out who Freddy is. It's the point. It's the pinnacle of like, this is Freddy. We got the face, we've got the sweater, we got the glove, we got the act, we got the one-liners. Everything is good. And now that's kind of why I don't know which one of these I'm going to like the most, because from that point on, all of it's my favorite. Like, I just love all the like the more game showy it gets, great. But like 3 has so many good one-liners and like
really does.
It's also it's Wes Craven coming back.
And that's a huge reason why it's so good.
And Chuck Russell's fucking the man. Like
true.
Yeah, he did an awesome job.
Some of those kills, like still that puppet kill, that not the him falling off, but the fucking like the veins pulling out. Oh,
dude, the creativity.
It hits Achilles tendon territory for me.
Yeah.
Although I will say, if you walk into a room, there's a chick's head smashed into a TV that's mounted like 10 feet in the air, and you rule it as a suicide.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So what she did was she climbed up on the chair.
Shit there.
She took
It's just like,
so what he did was he climbed up on a chair and then he launched himself like a spear at the TV. It was fucking crazy. We were asleep. We didn't see anything happen. You know, as prison guards do. They sleep.
That's true.
Oh, God, the security cameras. I don't know what happened.
Hold on, wait. Was the Epstein quote unquote suicide inspired by the first movie?
Yeah, maybe.
Possible. There we go.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, all her friends also committed suicide.
Well, that's what's so fucked is like they only get away with it because they're all in a psych ward. So they're all like, well, obviously all of these kids are suicidal.
Yeah.
Because they're here. Like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, one of my notes was these are the worst mental health professionals ever.
Right? Yeah.
However, probably pretty accurate to the 80s.
Y'all doing a real bang up job.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were
Emphasis on
100%
bang up.
accurate. Yeah. But yeah,
I will say,
okay.
Oh no, I was gonna say I agree that this is kind of where part 3 is where they kind of determine this is who Freddy's gonna be going forward. And I think that's why 4 is so fucking good, is because they kind of stick with that and lean in a little more. His lines in part 3 are so mean. Like when he's like, he's back
really
in the
going
saddle,
for,
and I'm
like-
like, fuck, this like poor kid in his wheelchair. And then when he does the let's get high and all that, I was like, you are just
The let's get
a
high one
cruel
is so
asshole.
fucked up.
Yeah.
And then in the fourth one, it's a little sillier where he's like, oh, I love soul food. And he's eating the pizza and he's got his own
How's this
liners.
for a
And I
wet
feel
dream?
yeah, exactly.
That's the- 4 has has like funner one-liners.
Yeah,
like,
4 has
it's
more
all
fun
through it.
one-liners. 3 is still like Freddy's mean, but there's more like humor kind of injected into it. And then I think 5, if I remember correctly, is not as good as 4, but it's about
5
that
is
same
rough.
level. And then it starts to kind of like overdo it, and that's why nobody likes 6. I don't even remember 6, so I'm excited to watch that
6.
one again. But I think
From
that's where
my
they kind of
memory,
overdid
6 is
it.
my favorite. Just because it's so
Because the
like,
power
the
glove?
hipster pick, dude. The hipster pick.
Yeah.
I'm with you. What's the one that everybody hates? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah,
fair
that's
enough.
a lot.
Fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to 5. 5 is in memory
Because the next one's Dream Child, right?
Dream Child, yeah.
And it's
Yeah, I don't
so
remember any of that.
fucking like it's too lore heavy. I think that's what's so good about 3 and 4 is you know what the lore is. They don't have to fucking spend a whole bunch of time trying to explain anything. They're just like, Freddy's gonna start killing motherfuckers. Let's go. Like, cool, perfect. 5 is so like trying to explain all the fucking like how he was born and stuff. It's like we don't need all that.
That's right. Okay.
It's already explained by the nun.
because
in
it's
2
already
or
explained
3.
or in
Whichever.
3, yeah, which convenient. Well, maybe well, I
She's a
guess that
ghost.
town.
So it's called a
is-
convent.
Well, no. I was gonna say like it convenient that he's attacking the kids in that place where it just so happened that his mom was locked in, and that happened to her, and that's where he was. That all happened.
But that's literally never a story element, except for the fact that that's where he was created.
Yeah.
Like they could have
So-
definitely woven that in a little bit more.
Yeah. So, but then, I mean, I guess that makes sense because it's not a big town.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that town doesn't have multiple psychiatric wards.
That town
I
might.
would hope.
Yeah, they
that
might,
one
yeah.
Yeah, depending on how long Freddy lives, or to continue to do this. But yeah, I also like. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say like the in part 3, whenever you guys were talking about which one you wanted to like or which one you ended up liking the most, I almost put 1 and 2 in a completely different. That's like they're different movies.
It's the same thing as
like,
Friday.
right? And like, the first 3 Friday movies are not the same Friday movies as starting from 6 and onward. Like they're just totally different. So like when you start to watch 3, the kills get better, the special effects get better. Like him eating her in part 3 from her feet, him turning into the giant worm thing, and dude, that I remember being a kid in the late 80s, seeing that on the back of the VHS cover, and that fucked me up.
I remember
just fucked me up.
that image, that fucking photo that you're talking about, that was fucking everywhere. It was on all the fucking like the monster mags and shit.
Yep.
It was fucking everywhere. Like that worm scene is one of the most iconic images for
it's awesome. And it's awesome,
so
but
good.
God, it is like it's just so unnerving.
So gross.
Yeah. But yeah.
I liked, what was it? There was watching these movies has just reinvigorated, not like it needed to be reinvigorated, but every time I watch these movies, I get a little angrier at anyone doing CGI in their fucking horror films nowadays.
Yeah.
Like when the sink knobs grew claws and like curved up
Yes.
like that. So
Yes.
silly, but I'm like, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And nowadays it would look like a fucking video game because they would
Right.
just digitize like claws and the little flexy fingers in there. And I'm like, whoever went to the trouble to put like hinges and turn these into fingers.
Right.
So
you mentioned a minute ago the scene where he like deflated her in part 4.
Yeah.
That is so fucking ugh.
Yeah.
Like,
also
gross.
I love we're like, oh no, he kills children. He's not a pedophile. He's a child murderer. And then in part 4, he's like, I'm gonna make out with this high schooler until she dies. And I'm like, oh, forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, to echo that,
I really didn't frame it like that when I watched it, but now I'm like,
well, dude,
like,
I mean,
want to
think
suck
about
face?
it.
I'm like, oh, dude, you're like 40. What do you?
Right.
Yeah, that's
but
fucked up.
part 4 or part 3, whenever he at the end when he reveals all the kids that are on his body.
Yeah,
that
was badass.
Yeah, like it's cool visual, and then you kind of dive deeper into what he is.
Yeah. Would anybody else Justin? Did for a second were you like, man, I'd eat that pizza?
No, actually, no.
Oh man, I was like, I'd eat that
for something.
If it was vegan, some vegan meatballs on that bitch, I'll eat a soul pizza. I don't give a fuck.
I did appreciate the fact that they showed him stabbing the kid, the kid meatball in the head.
Yeah.
And he was
I love it. It's just a meatball. Like it's clearly just a meatball on the glove.
Yeah, that was. So
what does he
funny.
say before he eats it? He says something.
He just says, "Rick, you little meatball."
Yeah,
and then he says, "I love soul food." And
that's what
pops it in his mouth. Yeah,
he says, "I love soul." Yeah.
So I started a list, and I feel like this is just going to be a list that we have to keep adding to. I decided we need a running list of all the things he's turned into the glove. The first one is clearly Mark Patton.
Yes.
A sink faucet handle, heroin hands, and a shark fin. That's what
the
we got
shark
so
fin.
The shark fin is
glove.
insane. So good. Derek, you talk about the shark fin. As the resident Jaws fan, what did you think about the Freddy shark fin?
Because it led to the quicksand. So this is your forte.
Yeah. When you first see it, you can't tell it's what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No,
like,
not at
what the
all.
fuck is that?
Yeah, it just looks like a piranha fin or something.
Nubs of blades. I was like, that's weird. Like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fucking dumb.
But it was still enough
funny.
to freak me out as a little kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
There's nothing more terrifying than an
scene.
Exploding sandcastle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think.
I
think I must have seen like this clip, or they played it on MTV, or it was part of a commercial, or something to that effect. Because I know
you just woke up a memory.
Yeah.
It was like a spring break commercial.
Yeah,
they said this was
so.
the MTV nightmare. That's like how it's credited in Google or Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, because I definitely did not watch this as a kid. I didn't watch any of these until I was maybe 9 or 10, and that was with the first one. But I remember
I didn't watch them as a kid. I watched when I was 9. When I was an adult,
I was seasoned.
I was a 9-year-old adult, man. What are you talking
Waited until
about?
I was drinking and
I was
smoking.
working down at the Rick, brother. 9 years old.
Getting back from work.
Some
Throw on
1890s
some
shit in
nightmare.
this motherfucker.
But I do remember being, in the late 80s, seeing that scene of him with the glove on the beach, like jawsing it up and cutting through the sand, because I remember going to the beach as a kid with my mom and thinking Freddy's going to come out of the sand with his glove. So those, as stupid as that is, it back then it had
it worked.
Thank God you hadn't watched Blood Beach.
Yeah. No worries. Safe. You just stayed in the car.
Yeah, we're at a concept
have
of
to
what
watch
quicksand
that.
porn was.
That's but yeah, I think this was one that they promoted pretty heavily because it was the highest grossing. Nightmare 4 was the highest grossing in the franchise until Freddy versus
crazy.
Jason.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
That's
I
wild.
mean, like 50 mil.
Yeah, 50 mil, 49.5 or something. Yeah.
Did it outdo 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
3 was close. 3 was like 45.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was close, but it was the fourth one was technically the highest grossing until Freddy versus Jason. I read.
No.
Pretty much every one of these, they got a bigger budget then, yeah? Because every one of them is more successful than the last one.
I mean, they're still all pretty low. They're still pretty low budget.
Which is insane when you really think about how good they look and how the effects,
especially for.
Yeah.
Well, 3. So I have the budget in front of me for 3. 3 was 4.5 mil, and I know Chuck Russell was quoted as saying when Chuck Russell read everything. Well, he also helped rewrite the script. But he's saying if we're going to do everything in here, it's going to be about $20 million worth of effects. He's like, and we got 4.5, so we're going to have to make this work.
That's
they did.
wild.
Yeah, because Wes Craven originally wrote it, and I think it was New Line that didn't like it, and then Wes Craven, I guess, became the executive producer from there, and also negotiated getting some percentage points on Freddy. Yeah. It's like, hey, like I want a piece of this.
Wes wanted it to be the last one, and he wanted it to be New Nightmare, where the characters from the first movie were being attacked by Freddy in the real world. And New Line was like, that's fucking weird. Absolutely not. We need to stay in canon with this franchise for at least 6 more movies
into the franchise type idea, buddy.
Yeah.
Right.
But they wanted him back after what happened with 2. And Dream Warriors is what we got.
And it was so Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont that rewrote it. And I read
that reason. Yeah.
It's
one of his first things.
The two of them wrote it together. That. Well, rewrote it. So they took Wes Craven's script and then they just revised it. And
is Darabont credited in the credits?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
New Line gave them 11 days. They said you have 11 days to rewrite the script. And apparently they locked themselves in a cabin and met the deadline. And they're like,
"Here it is." Darabont has to be one of the most talented fucking writers.
Yeah, that dude probably did it in 48 hours and was like, "All right, I'm going to party the rest."
Yeah, and then you went to Chuck and was like, "All right, you have 9 days to fix any fucking typos I missed."
He's just going through it real slow. He's like, FREDY. Oh no,
yeah.
He's like, you used the word "to" here in back-to-back sentences, so I changed one to "also," so it doesn't sound as repetitive.
I did that on day 8.
I'm gonna need, so I got my writing credit, right? I earned that.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I did not realize he. When I don't know if he was he listed in the credits or the opening credits?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I think I was so focusing on the fact that Wes Craven was back.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't catch that. That's awesome. I wonder what made him return.
I think he wanted, from what I read, he wanted to further explore Nightmare, like the concept that he, came up with. And then he wanted to negotiate percentage points. He wanted a piece of the pie.
Gotcha.
So that way, whenever anything Freddy comes out, he gets some of that money.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
His, right?
Yeah. If you're gonna have a fucking franchise, then based off of the thing I made, then I want to cut.
And I don't want to speak out of school on that because I don't know 100% if he currently still has that or if it was just for that movie. I was just reading when he negotiated for the third one, so I don't know if he's.
I have a feeling he doesn't have it anymore, Derek.
Well, yeah, according to
our state. Yeah.
I guess what I mean is the other
right.
The rest of the
It is funny how many wildly successful slasher franchises there are that the original creators did not want to become fucking franchises.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, they were like, no, he jumped out of the lake. Ambiguous. I don't fucking care. This is the only one. You're not doing anything else. And they're like, we're gonna make another one, and we're gonna
we're gonna bring Jason funny back. Like compared to now, where literally
and then John Carpenter's
like,
no, Michael Myers killed some people, and now he's gone, and you don't know what happened to him, and we're never doing it again. They're like, we're bringing
forward
Michael
to 2024,
back.
where every filmmaker's like, I wonder if I could turn this into a franchise.
Yeah, they're just like prepping to do 6 fucking movies, and it's like maybe just make the first one great.
Yeah. Make the first one good. Don't worry about the others.
Yeah.
Well, one of the comments that I read on Letterboxd for part 4 was really like made me stop and think, and it was just such an innocent comment where a guy said something to the effect of, I miss the era where I miss the era where low budget horror films look like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, like Nightmare 4 isn't anything crazy. that's still considered a low budget horror film. But look at the effects, look at the music, look at the whole approach to it. It's vastly fucking different than what people make today for
just look at the look
more
of
money.
Yeah. Just the look of it alone is like, I that has to do with film. It has to be film, right?
Yeah.
Like that part.
Well, I think it's
like,
that.
It's a big part of it.
But I would say a lot of practical effects is all they had, right? They had to use practical effects. If they had CGI like we do now, they would have used that because they had no money. And that's why they're using CGI now, because it's cheap. We're just lucky as 80s horror fans that...
That's definitely one of the things that I always try to keep in mind when it comes to CGI versus practical is like, shit costs less. Practical stuff cost less back then. And now it's such an industry of its own.
Well, I think
that like there's premiums to it, you know?
They're comparable in price now, because I've read sometimes where they're like the CGI would actually cost more, but it's also a time thing. Where it's like, if we've got a big blood splatter, then we don't want to risk fucking up the first take, and then we've got to clean up, reset, get a few more gallons of blood in here, when it's like we can just do it in post.
But what's crazy about that is when you really think about it, that echoes even more, because I'm sure that they had those same issues back then. You know, being on set, doing all of this stuff practical. I'm sure it took plenty of times to clean it up, set it down, fix it, reset it, blah, blah, blah. But all of these movies are coming out within a year of one another.
Yeah. Well, they're also just dealing with when it doesn't go well. So like because I know that like the Johnny Depp scene, I think they said, we know we only have one take on this. Yeah. So let's hope it works. And it was.
Big fucking thing of water up top. They turned it over, shut everything, turned the cameras on and let it roll. And they were like, it was the most terrifying 30 seconds of my life.
Yeah. There's like, let's fucking pray. And then in the first one, when he cuts off his fingers, only one of them shoots the green like blood, the other one clogged, but they couldn't do another take on that. Like they didn't have the time or the effects. They're like, just fucking, you think anyone's gonna notice? They're like, oh, only his pinky is bleeding, what's going on?
To a certain degree, it makes it almost more like weird, because it's just like your blood sputters. Like what?
I'm just looking at his face because he's got that creepy fucking grin when he does it.
I have never, as many times as I've watched that movie, never stopped to think about that.
No,
yeah, exactly.
I never noticed it.
But that just goes back to like, that's why I loved the original like Star Wars. They tell you, I watched some whole like making of Empire Strikes Back, and they're like, the miniatures kept fucking up and like hiccuping or glitching or something, and so we would just throw a laser beam hitting them because we're like not gonna reshoot this or whatever. And I'm like, this entire world was a fucking like model kit on a thing. And so you see these practical set pieces, like the opening house in part 4. That whole opening like sequence is so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Love it. And now it would just be a big green screen.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why the film, like making a movie on film, helped a lot back then. Because like when you do it on digital, it's so much harder to fucking mask that stuff, because it's all fucking so crisp, and you're like, that's fake. Like even going back and watching a lot of these, it's kind of like, this is a little too HD on some points.
Yeah. I really wish I had all these on VHS, so that way I could it can kind of clean that up, which is a weird phrase to use.
Ironic. Clean it up by making it look shittier.
Yeah.
It's called hiding,
which is how it was intended to be watched.
Yeah.
Did you see? I was checking the other credits, and Kevin Yager did Freddy's makeup in 2, 3, and 4.
Wow.
The name sounds familiar. He also designed Chucky and was the lead puppeteer for Chucky for the first 5 movies. First 4. He left after Bride.
It's interesting that he
Tony
did the
Gardner
2
took
one,
over.
because I felt like it was so like not a good Freddy makeup. But then like,
that's why it was his first. Yeah, he perfected it with 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And he knocked
and then he would go on to direct Hellraiser Bloodline. It's the 4th Hellraiser movie, which is now credited to Alan Smithy because he hated how it turned out with all the studio interference and wanted his name off of it.
Wow.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wild.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Right.
I enjoyed Blood. I mean, we'll talk about the Hellraiser movies when we do that one, but I thought Bloodline was a lot of fun, but I would love to see his cut. I think the closest we got was a work print was released in a recent Blu-ray box set, so you could watch the closest thing to what he had intended. Yeah, apparently
I haven't watched it
really
in so
fucked that one
long,
up.
but I remember it being like, it's an interesting fucking take on Hellraiser for sure.
Yeah,
and it's got long-haired Adam Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
Classic Adam Scott.
Super goth.
And in space.
Yeah.
It's a historical period piece prequel and a future set in space in the same movie, which is crazy.
Awesome.
But yeah, that was
That
was one fun fact. And then did you guys see when I did the TikTok about because I did like the hear me out and someone was like, what about Freddy with boobs from part 3 in the deleted scene? And I was like,
oh, I have not seen that.
I forgot about
so the nurse, when he's in the bed and the nurse shoots the tongues at him and he's like stuck to the bed. They originally filmed the nurse.
Tongue-tied.
Yeah. They originally filmed the nurse transforming into Freddy. So they have footage of.
I looked up Freddy with boobs and I got Freddy Fastbender.
Oh.
That's not at all what
No,
I'm
that's
looking
different.
for.
Freddy. So they had full Freddy makeup on this woman, and she looked very much like Robert Englund as Freddy. Like they did a really good job with the makeup.
Oh, wow.
Still topless. Like attacking this kid. So like the face transforms while her body is still her. And as they filmed it, they were like seeing Freddy bare chested with like, this is very uncomfortable even for this movie. I think we've gone too far. And they cut that out. So she just switches to Freddy off screen and it goes from like sexy topless nurse to full-time Freddy while we're looking at the guy in the bed. But if you look online, they have shots. Like there's a photo of her just wearing a towel and like Robert Englund's got his arm
And
around
he's like,
her.
"Hey, how you doing?"
And then there's another scene from one of the documentaries or whatever where they actually show a frame of what they had filmed. And yeah, it's a topless woman with Freddy's head and it's very unsettling.
Yeah, I just looked up a picture of it and it doesn't look like Freddy. It looks like a topless woman with Freddy's
Well, I think
head.
they were going to digitize, like they tried to make her as close to him as possible. And then when they cut to like a full face, like looking at her face, they were going to try to digitize his on top of it.
I know in that scene, so when he's laying on that bed, it was actually, which looks like he's lying down on the bed, but it was shot with the bed standing up. And he was tied there for I don't know how long because they did so many takes. And there was a lot of actors that complained about that set. Just the conditions and
I'm sure
that was one of them though. He said
he
it felt like he was crucified, like just standing there for hours. I would imagine
that's probably one of the things that they had to cut to fucking get under the budget.
Yeah.
Comfort, that's a grand.
Yeah.
Who needs that?
Oh,
I just realized you had your Jaws shirt on. That made that conversation we just had a minute ago way better.
Yeah,
you just saw
what
that?
made me think of it.
Yeah, I thought that's why it came up.
Yeah.
Did you notice in the fourth one the diner name?
Fuck, I did.
Yes, and I didn't write it down, but I've noticed this every time, and then I forget about it.
Crave
the Crave Inn, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wes
it.
Craven.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You observant
So,
motherfucker.
Speaking of the diner, and I'm assuming that the movie that I'm actually thinking about is 3, but every time I watch this movie, I think it's the one with the crazy like motorcycle because that dude has the fucking dirt bike on the back of his truck.
Oh yeah.
So I
Which
constantly
one is the crazy motorcycle?
It's got to be the next one, but
that sounds.
So it's I can't remember what character, but there's a character gets on a motorcycle to go save somebody from Freddy. And while he's driving, the fucking motorcycle starts like integrating into his body.
Oh yeah.
It's super fucked in cyberpunk. Dude, it's one of the most like metal scenes in this fucking franchise. But every time I watch this one, I'm always like, oh, this is the one with the motorcycle. And then it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh, this is the one with the time loop.
Time loop.
Yeah.
That time loop. Yeah. How did that how does that conclude? Does it?
Well, I'm assuming it's just Freddy fucking with him. But they're not asleep, are they?
But yeah, they're not asleep. Or are they? But even if whether or not they are, it doesn't show them like coming out of the time loop.
That's why I figured it was just Freddy
crashing to Freddy, yeah.
doing it to give him time to turn this chick into a fucking roach.
Yeah, it's just so
it was weird.
It's confusing because you're like,
yeah,
wait, now they're at the hospital. What?
Right? Yeah.
Oops.
They've escaped the time loop.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. That's how you do it. You go to a hospital. That makes sense.
Also, I have to correct myself. You were right, Derek. I forgot this came out in '88 and part 5 came out in '89. Yeah.
Derek's taking a victory lap.
Yeah.
I know my year.
Yeah. But
I got 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983, 1985. I don't have 84.
Yeah. I know all those years.
But going back to the roach transformation thing, that was the last. I mean, I've seen this before, but that was the last thing that I ever expected to happen when that scene starts.
Yeah, it's kind of out of nowhere.
Out of
it's
fucking
very Cronenberg.
Nowhere.
It's very Cronenberg. Yeah,
very.
It's 2 years after The Fly too.
Just
86.
the fucking elbows part is that.
That's
as
enough.
somebody who's ever lifted weights, that has to just it's that intrusive thought. It's always right on the edge, but like, what if that happened?
Yeah. It's also
and then cockroach arms came out.
I would
fuck off.
I would love to be in the theater when people saw this for the first time opening weekend, and you see the elbows, and everyone's probably like, "Oh, fuck that!" And then the arms come out, and everyone's like,
"I would have expected one." Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's like this just keeps getting worse. Like, what is going on?
Like because when her arms fall off, and they're just like these like skin socks or like these elbow length gloves that just land.
It's the her doing this, and then it's the and then she just stayed there for way too long.
Yeah.
However, it's all completely wiped away when you see her running. Like,
yeah.
But then also when she falls and she pulls her own face off, like getting up as the bug,
that redeems it. That redeems the run.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Face.
Yeah, he takes her face.
Nice.
That's one where I feel like maybe, I guess we could talk to Frank Darabont someday and ask him if that's how it was. Or no, he didn't write that one.
I know he's really into
this is the fourth one. Whoever wrote the fourth one, we got to talk to them and be like, did you say he transforms her into a cockroach? Or did you just say Freddy appears, screaming Mad George will handle this one? Because I feel like that's one where they would come in and just be like, so we have an idea.
What you got?
And we have nowhere else to put it. So can we just do this? And the director was like, fuck yeah, that sounds gnarly. Let's do it.
Brian Helgeland wrote the fourth one, who also wrote L.A. Confidential, Mystic River.
What?
A Knight's Tale, Man on Fire.
What the fuck?
Damn.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Wait, which one?
Which Robin Hood?
The Ridley Scott one.
What?
Russell Crowe.
Oh no. Okay, never mind. Not that one.
Wrote 40. Damn.
That's a fucking resume.
Yeah, it is. Dude, these movies really spawned some of the some hitters.
It really did.
That's wild.
I can't I know Screaming Mad George is fucking legendary, but whenever you're going through all of the shit that guy has actually been a part of, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, it's absurd.
It's alarming. How does one cover that much ground?
He's a fucking, in the best way, he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Like that dude's just so obsessed with effects. And I think the best part about Screaming Mad George, and also the thing that kind of fucks me up every now and then when he's doing stuff, it's so distinct. He has such a distinct look to his stuff that some, like in Freddy it works, in Society it works. There's been other, I couldn't tell you what, but there's been other things where it's like, maybe we don't need the cartoony gore. We need a more realistic thing, and that kind of takes it out sometimes. But still, he's such a fucking icon.
What's crazy is his last credit was an uncredited thing for This Is the End.
Oh shit!
Wow. With Seth Rogen, that Seth
crazy.
Rogen movie.
That's the last thing he did.
Yeah, he did Faust in 2000, and then Beyond Reanimator, and then This Is the End. So he's only done 3 things in 24 years.
That's wild.
I mean, I know he's gotten older, but still.
I mean, he's only 67. He should still be doing.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's right. He did. He worked on a movie called Blood of the Samurai and The Legend of Diablo.
Oh, he worked on Freaked.
Yeah, and Predator.
and In Sync. It's gonna be me.
Oh yeah, he did all the monster work for it. He did all the monsters. Yeah. That's the fucking Halloween video where they fucking they're all fucking Universal monsters and shit.
No, that's Backstreet Boys. In Sync's It's Gonna Be Me is the one where they're
that's the puppet
one. Marionettes in toy boxes.
Yeah.
He also did the Guyver, which
amazing. Who's going to mention
Also
98 Degrees at some point so that we've talked about all the boy bands on this episode?
Yeah.
Purposely leaving out One Direction.
Right, yeah.
All I heard in my head was the guy in Fanboys being like, "You got a problem with Menudo?" Now take it off.
That's awesome.
What are the Rotten Tomato scores for these two?
So for 3, we got a 67% tomato meter and a 68% audience score.
Oh wow!
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty good.
And on
Making a mess.
Whoa.
And Letterbox is a 3.5.
Gotcha. I feel like I kind of have a feeling based off of just observing the internet for years and years. Like it seems to be part 1 obviously is a lot of people's like go to, but aside from part 1, so many people seem to prefer part 3 or single out part 3 as like the best of the whole 100%. Franchise. Yeah.
I totally get it too, because I mean it is the most coherent. It's also Craven's Return. It's the most coherent. It's got some of the best fucking kills. It's got like the finalized Freddy. The fucking it's.
I'm
plus
still
it's
shocked.
got more. It's got the nun fucking with the world building. Yeah, it's really.
Dude, I am. I completely forgot that they killed Nancy.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That is pretty. That is pretty fucked up.
That wasn't.
They just brought her back.
Yeah. And that wasn't the original plan. I think Wes wasn't happy about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And then the way they changed it up. So at the end, when the light comes on in the dollhouse, and everyone's like, "Oh, but is Freddy dead?" They were supposed to make it more clear that that's Nancy turning on the light in the dollhouse because she is protecting their dreams.
That's rad.
That she's like a guardian angel now, and that was the intention. And then I think it was the studio was like, "No, we need people to think that Freddy's still out there because we're going to make another one." So, like, no. Like don't close the door just yet. And they're like, no.
Yeah, if she's protecting it, then we can't do more movies.
They make it a little more ambiguous.
Dude, money.
How rude is it? How rude is it when Nancy drops her bottle of prescription pills and dude just picks it up and looks at it for like 9 seconds to see what it is?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
super rude.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Let me get that for you.
He just starts walking away. He starts writing it down with a fucking notebook.
Just a little nosy.
Let me see what you're taking, psycho.
Oh, you can't let yourself dream, huh?
How would medicine work to stop you from dreaming?
Bro, if you smoke weed enough, you don't dream.
I wonder why.
What? Really?
Yeah, like if you I mean it's a lot of weed.
Yeah.
But like
is there science to back this, or this is just like
I don't know. I don't know how you could test
if you smoke enough weed, you won't realize you're dreaming. Because which is essentially the same thing as just not dreaming.
I mean, for my purposes, that works. I'm fine with that.
Right. Because then you can't confuse the two. You're like, man,
I got the Freddy dreams. I can eat them out.
Like I had a dream I stole a school bus and drove it through a water park. And they're like, no, you actually fucking did that, man. You got to like stop. Oh, I guess I smoke so much weed I don't dream anymore. It's like, no, that's...
It still makes it true.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
Look, man, what I do is I fucking smoke an entire bong load of a marijuana, and then I take 3 Ambiens, and we call it a fucking night. Whatever happens, happens, brother. Why am I in prison?
Right? How did I get here?
I know we'll talk about it when we
This
get
is
to
not my beautiful cellmate.
Freddy versus Jason, but that's similar to the dude taking his sweet time looking at the bottle. The one scene I always remember is when they pull it up, they're like, "What's Hypnosil?" And they show it come up on the computer screen. It says Hypnosil to suppress your dreams, and the character goes, "It's a medication for suppression of dreams." And I'm like, it's in size 40 font across the top of the fucking screen. Like
that. You know what? It's a commentary on the education system in America.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good, I know it's a fictional drug name, but that sounds like something that like actually exists to do that.
I can already picture the TV spot with the ridiculous like fine print legal rambled off at the end.
Like 2 old white people just frolic in a meadow or some shit.
Freddy's in the background trying to chase
night
him.
terrors imposing on your happy fairy tale life
from the makers of Gardasil.
Have it delivered discreetly to your door.
Now you can't dream.
Discreetly. Just don't drop it in front of that fucking dude.
You open the door and the mail guy's like, oh, you dropped it. It's open.
Oops. Don't want to dream anymore, huh? I feel you. Neither do I. What's the Rotten Tomatoes for part 4?
Well, I will say for 3, me, Josh, and James all gave him 4 stars for 3. What's yours, Justin?
Oh, I
I
didn't
don't see yours on there.
Yeah, I didn't log it yet.
Wow.
Amateur
letterboxer.
Right.
Yeah, I would.
Bro, I logged that shit. I logged that shit 5 months ago.
God.
Whenever I started doing Letterboxd again.
God,
because I just went through and did a bunch of movies. It had nothing to do with this podcast.
I wish I had the discipline to do that. There's so many movies on Letterboxd that I caught myself starting to do that as soon as I started an account. I was like, I'm going to rate this one. I'm going to rate this one. And then 3 hours later, I was like, I have accomplished nothing else today. And nobody gives a shit but me because nobody follows me on this fucking app yet.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just get a bunch of these out of the way because I'm not going to keep up with this.
I do a good job of keeping up. Like I do a good job of logging everything right after I've seen it. But yeah,
I do it.
Rating old
do
stuff
it
is
that
bad. And
way.
I hardly ever rewatch old stuff because I've always got new shit I want to watch. So I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, I made a point to not go to old stuff. Like I'm only going to log. That's why whenever I started the account like 3 years ago, I'm just starting fresh.
Yeah,
I'll go as I go. And then there's the douchebag in me that's like some people might think I didn't see, whatever fucking movie.
I need people to know how I feel about The Dark Knight. Just in case it comes up.
This is a good movie. Heath Ledger did great.
It happens every once in a while. If I get like somebody liked my review on a movie I watched 9 months ago, I was like, people are looking at my reviews on movies from that long. Maybe I should like jump in here and be like, oh, if you like that one, you should hear what I have to say about like, From Dusk Till Dawn. Like I've rewatched that in a minute, but just in case.
Right. So yeah, for 4, there's quite a drop off.
Oh no.
Tomato meter, not too bad in the tomato meter. It's 57%. Audience score is 43%, and Letterboxd is at 2.7.
That drop in audience score is surprising. I
kind of get it. I don't think it's as good as the first. I think that there's I think that there's too many things that change.
Okay.
In like, because first you have to deal with Patricia Arquette being gone.
Yeah.
And then she fucking dies.
That's 10%.
The Ghost Gloves. 5%.
So now you're
Yeah.
So now you're following another
lose.
girl. I get it. I understand why people are like, I don't like it so much. Plus, like the karate scene.
But karate. There's not a karate
the
scene.
Karate.
James.
Invisible
It's a karate movie.
Invisible karate.
Dude, I was
You're
right.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the karate bumps it back up, dude.
But the invisible Freddy karate takes it back down.
Okay. I don't know.
I think the invisible.
He's not even in the
Freddy
fucking scene.
glove. I think that one brings it back down because it's like, dude, you just use your superior karate skills and get out of the way.
I will say
come on.
And what's funny is I was reading like the description on Wikipedia to make sure I got character names right as I was jotting down my notes. She can transfer her power to she can pull people into their dreams, and then she accidentally pulls Alice into her dreams, and it's like, oh, while I've got you here, here's my power to pull people into your dreams while I die.
Yeah.
And then
she
Alice
just randomly gets all the powers from.
And then she gets the powers from everyone else who dies after that. And I read something that was like,
which is how she becomes Karate Girl.
Yeah, and then when the girl who gets turned into a cockroach, was it Kim or something? I can't remember the character's name.
She took her strength.
Yeah, she's like, she took her temper and used it to drive into Freddy. And I'm like, that's how we were supposed to interpret that. Is she got her?
She also
powerful
wasn't
temper.
that
I thought she got her strength. Yeah, I thought it was her strength just from
weightlifting. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
That's why
I'm gonna edit that then.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna get cockroach.
You ever fucking put temper in here? You need to rewatch this shit. No,
her temperament.
Yeah. Fucking loser.
But that is a cheesy. I mean, you can't hold too much against any of these movies for being a little like silly. But that whole aspect of it, it's kind of like the Jason Part 7, where they're like, oh, now we've got someone with telekinesis who can take him on.
Right.
That's the other thing. I think that the Patricia Arquette power is like, yeah, fine, she can pull you into her dreams. That's not too much. Like, it's a little ridiculous, but there's no like transference or anything. It's just she can pull you into her dreams, and you got to deal with that shit. This is like, okay, now we're fucking like we're fucking with physics, and we're fucking with like we're really making you think about what's going on. And
it's a little much. Yeah, the third one's a better movie.
It jumped the shark with the Freddy glove fin.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But what's so funny about Part 4 is like, for some reason, even though all of that stuff is very much out there, it still feels more in universe without them even doing anything. Compared to, Part 7 of Friday, of like, fucking what? Where does this come from?
By the way, telekinesis is also a thing.
Like we're just talking about a dead guy that's killing people in the woods, and then now this like telekinesis is a thing.
I think that's part of it, right? Is that like Jason's always in him, but that doesn't mean anything. It's not like he has any dialogue or he just kills people. Whereas Freddy, you can have ridiculous shit going on, and then just his personality is so fucking ridiculous and shit that when he says shit, you're like, all right, fair. That helps me suspend the disbelief a bit. Whereas like if it's Jason, you're just like, well, she's psychic now.
That's
You
it.
do have a little more freedom.
Right.
There's more flexibility with Freddy for sure.
Yeah.
Just by the nature of
something happening in your dream, that and the concept of something, all this stuff happening in your dreams is very fantastical.
Yeah.
Whereas Jason is very flesh and blood.
Which, then I guess you wouldn't need to absorb other powers, because that's the whole point of Part 3, was that when you're in your dreams, you can do whatever you want. So in Part 3, they were like,
4, he keeps killing them before they can do anything.
But it's just, it is weird that in Part 3, they're like, if you're in a wheelchair in your dreams, you can walk, you can you've got switchblades, you can do this. And then in Part 4, they're like, if your friend dies in this dream and gives you their karate power, then you can also do that in dreams.
That's such a good point. What a dumb fucking movie. It's all about lucid dreaming, but in 4, you
47%.
Your friend has to die for you to lucid dream with that ability.
See, 47% makes sense.
Now we get it. We cracked it.
Shit. Oh man,
that's great.
That was perfect.
According to Letterboxd, Josh, you haven't seen 4.
Oh, I haven't logged it yet. I'll log it right now.
Do it.
I finished it as I was getting on this call. I've been very busy, you guys.
Watched every minute of it.
I'm sorry.
Holy fuck. God, that was funny.
I do love that your review is just, I did not expect this much karate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, that was the end of the episode. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was
that was perfect.
How long was
God,
it?
that was
fucking know.
like hour and 15.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That was so
20.
fucking funny.
Dude, that was
God, what a stupid fucking movie.
I don't know why I didn't like connect that. It just like they're two. It's all about lucid dreaming, but in the fourth one, you can't. Oh, that's great.